Hi, this is Roger Smith of the True Blue Lounge, and today I'm going to speak to Sheridan Donna Palmer. Who is Donna Palmer, you may ask? Donna Palmer is a 1981 Manning's graduate. She hails from the cool hills of Darliston, Westmoreland. She holds a master's degree in public administration, resides in Florida, and is a retired county professional and a certified transformational speaker and a published author of two, not one, two inspirational books titled Life You Can Do It and Live Like Zori. Welcome, Donna Palmer. Hi, this is Roger Smith of the True Blue Lounge, and today I'm with Sheridan Donna Palmer. Sheridan, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Roger. I'm delighted to be on your forum today.
Good, good. And it's Donna, is it?
Donna is my pet name. So I'm Sheridan Palmer. Most of my classmates would identify with Sheridan, but I go by Donna. So that's a
Okay.
comfortable name right now.
Nice, nice. So, Sheridan, what type, or wait, Donna, what part of Savannah are you from? Or the area of Westmoreland?
Roger, I'm not from Savlamar. So I'm from the cool hills of Darliston, Westmoreland.
Okay.
And um, yes, I hail from Darliston. And that's a little cool area up there. Maybe you guys have heard about Darliston because a lot of us are from Darliston who went to Manning's on our little country bus. Um, what do you call it?
Manbees,
Man B bus or
Manbees.
Sam B bus? Yes. So yeah, that's where we came from. A lot of us went to Unity and then we transitioned over to Manning's and we come to school every day, long journey on our little country bus. Yes. So I'm
Okay.
a real Darliston fan.
And when you say Darliston, you mean Darlistons and not Lennox Bigwoods.
No, no, no. I live right in smack in the square of Darliston. And
Okay.
from right there in the square, my mom used to run behind us with the tea to the bus stop because it's right there. And she would run to make sure we're getting that last gulp before we get into school. Right in the square. You could throw a stone and get out to the Darliston Square. That's where Donna is. Yes.
Okay. So you took the big Manby country bus to school.
The big Man B country bus, or we had Sambi, which was a smaller bus that we could take also. So we had those two buses that was available to us to get to school.
When I took Manby's big bus, I was normally late. It's only when I was late I got that one. I can't remember if it was Unity, but it was too late for one of them. Which one was it?
It would be maybe Man B, because that's the one that goes all the way around and come back around. So, maybe that one, maybe
Okay.
I could see how that could be one of the late buses.
All right. Well, let's start with my cognitive test. I just need to know who I'm dealing with because some of we all. All
All of us
right.
are there. But go ahead.
All right. So, first four Mannings. Name me a couple of kids in your class. I mean, in a year, in your class.
Okay, in my class, I am connected to just about most of the kids in my class or adults in my class, and I'm going to stick to the ones who I'm in touch with as we speak. So to start off, I would say Ida Wallace. She's Dr. Ida Wallace right now, but she was a very bright girl in our class. Maybe you've heard it before, and I'm still in touch with her. She's very supportive to a lot of things that I'm into, and also I remember Grace Porter, another troublesome friend that I had that was in our class. She I used to spend summer, not summer, I used to spend holidays at her house in Kingston. I mean, I'm not Kingston, in Savlamar with Grace. And then there's Barrington Grizzle. We're in touch. We spoke even 2 days ago. Barrington Grizzle was another guy in my class. And who else? Of course, I had it written down. Oh, Joy Thomas. Yes, Joy Thomas is a friend of mine. We are friends even today. And she lives in Florida. And at times we get together with other classmates. And Joy and I even took a vacation together. And of course, Ansel Drummond, who's now Pastor Drummond. We were in the same class and we share the same birthday in October. and we also have the same faith. And so we cross paths. And later in the interview, I'll talk about some things that we're involved in.
Nice, nice. So, you went to Unity. What lessons class were you on, Miss Cox or Miss Dobson?
Miss Dobson. Miss
Awesome.
Dobson, are you kidding me? That lady, yeah, she stood on the deck. You know, she groomed us. We're not talking about Unity today, but Miss Dobson had a significant role in who I am today as a
Do
person.
you, do you remember her putting the strap on you regularly?
All of us got straps because we had to, before the classes started, we had to sit there and say the times table from 1 to 15. And she would be listening from somewhere, I don't know. And then she would call you out randomly to get on the chalkboard to put answers on. If you don't know, that lady, oh, yeah, she was determined that we had to learn. You remember when the results would be coming off, how many people and students were passing from Unity to Manage. That was like the main feeder school back in the days. And that's all because of that effort that Miss Dobson had put in there. Miss Gibson, too. They all worked as a
That's
good
nice.
team.
Nice to hear. Nice to hear. So,
Okay.
tell me your early remembrance of Mannings, the teachers, inspiration. What can is there a special teacher that touched you and you thought, wow, I want to be just like her, or I'm going to stay out of this lady's way?
I have quite a few and I want to talk about them. Let's start with the strict ones first. There was a teacher called Miss Spence. She taught us history. And her mannerism, she was a stern, strict lady that, and I believe she had good intentions for us as students to learn the history, but her mannerism and the way she was, some of us end up not liking history. I talked to some of my classmates and they told me just dealing with Miss Spence and how she was, it's turned them off from history. And then there was Euphemia Williams, Miss Youtie. Miss Youtie was my English teacher in first form. And one particular day, she called me out and she wanted me to tell her what was the meaning of the word pioneer. Of all the books I've read, all the Hardy Boys and Nancy G. Brooks, I've never came across that word. I had no idea what it meant. And she said, oh, and you say like, oh, my blood right now, your blood. I don't know what that means. I went home nervous to my mom. I said, Mom, what does she mean? And she said, oh, no, man, it's nothing, man. It's just because you guys are related. You know, she's from Darliston too, and we're related. But good, stern lady that had, she had a backbone to help and she was strict, but it worked. I enjoyed it. And also, I will not forget the Monroes, Mr. and Mrs. Monroes. Miss Monroe was so sophisticated and always so well dressed and proper. And then we had Mr. What's his name? Oh, Mr. McLean. That's the Caucasian math teacher. He taught me math and he helped me to understand some of the principles of math. And I always remember him. And then you had Miss Wagstaff. She didn't teach me really, but I know she was this humble lady who went all the way up to, I think, vice principal. And we cross paths these days because the church where I fellowship, the first lady, I think, is related to her. And so I see her. I think I even graced her with one of my books. I'm an author, by the way. And also the favorite now, who you said we would like to be like, my farm teacher. She was Juliet Malcolm. They call her Muffet. That lady was the epitome of grace and class, and she had so much confidence, and she was our home economics teacher. And when she walked to that home ec center, she turns heads for everyone. And the thing is, she was one of the younger teachers, so she could relate to us, and she was quite down to earth. She passed away, God bless her soul, but she has been a inspiration to me with her sophistication and the way she dressed and how she walked in her shoes and how she made the classes so entertaining and inviting. And we were happy to cook or bake or sew, whatever it is. We looked forward to a home economic classes.
I remember her well, really well,
Yes, yes.
Miss Malcolm. Talking about cooking, can you cook?
Can I cook, Roger? Cooking is one of my pastime and hobbies. Yes, I love to cook. Of course, country girl. I love to cook and I cook anything and everything. So I could put together a mean oxtail, curry goat, Jamaican dishes, you name it. And then I try different cuisines. So I'm out there, I'll try some Cuban, I'll do some Italian, I'll get into, when I travel, I want to go into the heart of the city to find the little mom and pop shops to see what's cooking and how they're cooking it. So yes, cooking is part of my, like a therapeutic thing that I do to try different things, making drinks, I bake. All of that is just my creative side coming out. Yes.
So, what's your go-to meal? Say someone wants to bring you to a nice, sophisticated restaurant. What sort of cuisine is your first choice?
I am a, you would say, pescatarian at this time. I love everything from the sea. I'm a fish eater, so it would have to be something seafood wise. And yeah, fish.
I
Give
hope
me some
not.
fish.
I hope I'm a shellfish you talk about,
I enjoy every fish, everything from the water. So it's shrimp, it's lobster, it's clams, it's snapper, it's sardines, it's anything. Yes, I love seafood. Seafood is what I lean to now more than anything.
What
Yes.
about alcohol?
Okay, so I'm Christian, as you know. So alcohol is
No,
not
no, no.
my
Sorry,
number one drink.
I don't know, and you're gonna explain to me what that
You
means.
don't
So,
know. Yes. Thanks to my parents, we grew up in a Christian home in Jamaica, going to the usual Sunday school and learning the memory verses and all that stuff. And I'm happy that that happened because that's really a cornerstone of my life right now, my faith. But yes, I enjoy a glass of sorrel any day, of course, with a little tip in there. And if I want to get like real fancy and sophisticated, I will enjoy some white wine. Yes.
okay. While growing up and going to Manning's, and living in the seedy, cool hills of Darliston, how
There you
often would
go.
you say you went to church in a week?
We went to church every Sunday. That was like no questions asked. We had to go to Sunday school. We participated in Sunday school, and we were, yeah, frequent churchgoers in my family, and even
Not
up to
no
today. Yeah.
no family training hour on a Monday, no Wednesday prayer meeting.
Well, as children, yeah, we didn't get to go. Maybe the adults, but for us as children, we know we Sunday was a day for church, so it was set aside. During the week, we're going to school. We're from Darliston, so we're getting up real early to get the bus and all that stuff. And my mom was a stickler for education and to succeed. And so she used to wake us up early in the morning because we had to sit around the table to read because she's always saying, read ahead of your teacher. And so our days were long. So by the time we finished the journey to Sav and then to come back, we're exhausted. So midweek services were not for us as children. We knew that Sunday was the day of worship.
Okay. So, how has your faith, how has it served you in your life? When did you realize that this is something that you wanted to do? This is something you wanted to believe in? This is something you wanted to be a part of? And this is something that's rewarding you even now?
Yes, that's a good question. Because of how we grew up in our family, that was always the center. So my religion, as I said, is the cornerstone of my life because that keeps me grounded and centered. And it's a constant reminder of the supernatural being of who God is and the awesomeness of who He is. And it guides and directs my actions, my decisions, how I carry myself, how I relate to people, how I help others. It's all based on growing up and my faith in God and to see what He does, how He treats people, who He is. I'm out looking out for people at all times. And my religion is the base that helps me to be the person I am. So, yes, that's the cornerstone of who I am today, thanks to my parents.
So, when you meet someone that isn't of any of the religions, isn't part of the group
The faith.
called,
I
yeah,
like the word faith.
faith, okay. Do you think they're missing out, or you think different horses, different courses?
I wouldn't say I'm missing out because, I believe in God. So if you're connected to God, the supreme being, in whatever version, I'm not there to judge you because I'm about relationship. So if you have a relationship with God and you're practicing in your own general way, I'm not the judge of that. I entertain it. I'm okay with that. I'll share. I'm not the one to hit the Bible over anybody's head because I believe in, let your light shine. So my life is what I use as my Bible. So
Nice.
I'm the one to live and be, of course. And then from who I am, maybe that would convince somebody that, maybe I should follow through into what she's practicing or stuff. But yeah, I'm not the judgment of people with their different beliefs.
What do you think happens to us when we expire?
The morbid questions when we expire. Okay. I really don't know. So because I'm a Christian and I have the hope of eternal life. I believe when we expire, we're somewhere out there in the holding, somewhere waiting for the day of redemption. And that day is when we're going to be judged, right or wrong, good or evil. And that's why I live the way I live, because I'm hoping that I'll be on the good side, or on, we would say, on the right side. Yeah, I think when we expire, we're just sitting there waiting on that great big day.
Okay. Thank you for
What
that.
do you think?
Do you really want to know? I don't think anything happens. I
Yeah,
think
I want to
once
know
we
actually.
expire, we're just dead. Just like the animal that dies in the field, or the egg that you ate this morning, or the chicken that you ate. We're just
Right.
dead, tiff-tone dead. That's how I feel. But
No,
hey,
no, I know we're dead because the body, decays and it's gone. But I think our soul, our spirit lives on. That's what I'm saying, is somewhere out there. I actually believe that with all my heart.
okay. So, a good day at Manning's, a really good day. You got a lot of money from mommy and daddy, and you want to have a really nice lunch, and you're leaving the school. Where are you going, and what are you eating?
It's so funny that you asked that question, because I always look forward to lunchtime when we went to Manning's, because there was this little shop or restaurant called Idle a While. And now I'm looking back to, if I don't know if it was intentional for them to call it Idle a While, but they had the best cocoa bread and patty. Do you remember Idle a While right down the street there? We
Yes, I
look
do.
forward to going there. Yes. And now in my senior years, Idle in a While is like one of my favorite thing to do, which is just like taking it easy, chilling, enjoying nature, doing something relaxing, doing nothing, idling a while. So I guess that had been something that was brewing in my spirit from I've been going to that place, idle a while. Yeah, I look forward to the patty and cocoa bread.
Did you play any sports at Manning's?
I didn't play sports at Mannings. I was a member of the school challenge quiz, the team, practicing netball. They had me as the center because I'm short in stature. And so I was for PE time, I used to be the center person. That mean you could run around everywhere except where you're shooting the goal. So I played netball in school.
Okay, okay. All right, so this is your time now. So tell me, since leaving Manning's, talk to me from graduation. So I want to know if you were one of the favored ones that were able to go to sixth form and upper six, and how are you where you are now from then? So just give me a nice little pitch from Manning's fifth form graduation to where you are now. Thank you.
Okay, in a nutshell, life after graduation has been an interesting journey. True story. I went back to Manning's one day to get my results for the CXE, and I bumped into the Mr. Herbert Nita, the principal. And he engaged me and he wanted to know what I was doing there. I told him, I came to get my results, and he wanted to know if I could type. And, funny, that's one of my strengths. And I said, yes, I'm a good typist. I love to type. And so he walked me over there to the office to Miss McGee and Miss Gray. And, long story short, I was hired as the youngest employee at Manning School. So I worked in the office and I was tasked with typing on the typewriter the exams for the lower first and second form students. And then I was later transferred to the bursar's office, working with Mr. Reed. And from there, I was calculating and doing deductions for the teachers. Some had like INS or NHD amounts that should be deducted from their salary. So I was tasked with doing all of that. And then I would have to prepare the letter that we would send off to these companies. And the final step would be to write the checks, handwritten checks for all the salaries for the staff, for the teachers and the administrative staff. And, I was grateful for that opportunity, because I look back in life now that those the years or months, whatever, how long I was there, it really developed and sharpened my analytical and methodical skills that I used throughout my career and even now. So I was very grateful for that. So that was at Manning's. And then after that, I left and went to Kingston so I could further my studies. And I also worked at the Life of Jamaica insurance company in the claims section. And while I was there, it was good. I met friends, learned a lot, was a part of some great teams and projects. But I wanted something bigger for me. And so I migrated. to Florida. And from there, I attended the Florida International University, where I completed my bachelor's my bachelor's in business administration and my master's in public administration. And that was while working as a professional with Miami-Dade County. And I worked with the county for 32 years. And at that time, God inspired me and I wrote my first inspirational book. And then I wrote my second book for children, Live Like Zori. And today, I'm retired from the county, and looking now at the different chapter of my life, which my passion and is really to serve and to help others. So now that I'm retired, I have more time that I could delve in and get involved more with giving back and volunteering. And I did say I was going to mention more about Ansel's church. They're one of the churches that are involved in feeding South Florida. And on Thursdays, they do have that activity going on. So I try when I'm in town or I'm available, I try to assist in that sense to help with the distribution so we could help others to eat. It's Feeding South Florida. So that's one of my volunteer venture that I take part in these days.
You're bi-
That's a nutshell of where I am to how I am today. And I also told you that my two books, I'm also a certified transformational speaker. And I have my two books, Life You Can Do It and Live Like Zori.
What's a transformational
Yes, I won't
speaker?
go into the a transformational speaker is a little bit more, I think, than a motivational speaker. Because a motivational speaker to me is to feel good, tell you things that are good that you should be doing. Transformational is ensuring that you're taking the path, you're making a change. It's gonna happen. You're transforming from one stage to the next. So I think it's more effective to be a transformational speaker than just a
Okay.
motivational speaker.
Um, when you've had high points in your life, real high points, how do you cope with them? And when you're really, really low, how do you cope with that?
High point. Like I just said, my high point in my life was, publishing my book and getting to get out there. I was privileged to do the book tour 7 years ago, and the principal of Manning's had asked me to come and to speak with the kids at Manning's. So the same auditorium that I used to misbehave in during prayer.
Hmm.
At that stage, I was on stage, talking with the students of Manning's, and that was a high point because I was giving back to my school, and I did donate some of the books to the library. And for the high point, it's a unique opportunity, and it humbles me because I'm at a stage where I could give back to the community that made me the person I am.
Hmm.
Low points in life. I just have to mention a low point in my life. When I was 15 years old, my grandmother, I was very attached to her, and I looked forward to going to Beeson Spring to be there with her for the holidays. But I don't know if you remember, in June 12th of 1979, there was a horrible flood.
Yep.
And that flood came, it washed away a part of her house. She was washed away and she drowned. And that was like the lowest part in my life. Every
Sorry to hear
time I
that.
remember, even today talking about it, it's over almost 50 years ago, but she was such an important person to me. And when that happened at 15, I just couldn't process what happened, and that loss has affected me to this day. That's my lowest point, and whenever I talk about it, or whenever June 12th comes around, it's something that really jerks me. Yes, my grandmother.
Wow.
But
Sorry to.
I try to overcome that loss by living the life that she would be proud of.
That's good. That's good.
Yes.
Grief, they say, every day it gets better, even slightly, but sometimes it's easier said than done,
Yes,
because
yes,
memories are those
yes.
things. Yep. Yep. Hey, when you think of the future, are you hopeful?
Again, because I'm a Christian, extremely hopeful. Because I read the good book and I believe what I'm hearing. And so you get disappointed. And, it rained a lot this morning. And I try to be so positive and to know that my sister always say, we could see down the road, but God could see around the corner. And because I believe that He has my life and He could see around the corner, whatever situations I go through in life, I try to be positive and to just trust him. And it helps me, to be very optimistic. And so the future, I'm very, very hopeful. Jeremiah 29:11, I'm preaching now. It says, "For I know the plans I have for you, and not of evil, but to help you succeed and to prosper." I'm paraphrasing. That scripture guides me a lot in life. So it helps me to be hopeful and to not be discouraged about things in life that I have no control over. So my faith is the base of what's helping me to be so hopeful in life and to stay positive.
Wow, that's pretty cool. You know, when we think of all that's going on in our life, when we were younger, we never thought ever that we would look at life the way we do, even cynically sometimes. If you were to go back
Yes.
and speak to Donna when she was graduating with all the knowledge you have now, what would you say to her?
Maybe I would have said to her that she should have been more involved in helping others. I developed that over time, but at 15, I wouldn't have known that that was such a rewarding thing to be doing. So I would tell my little Donna to, stay focused and to treat others like she would treat herself. That is a very important thing. We didn't know that, or I knew at 15, but we didn't care to. 'Cause we're more like selfish and maybe afraid of what's out there. But now that I know, that's something I think I would have told my younger self.
Okay, thank you very much. You know, I have to thank you for coming on my show. Everyone, has this thing wherein they keep a lot to themselves. So to give anything, it shows that you're cut from a different cloth because there's a lot of people that, they like to bury everything and keep it buried. You know what I mean?
I understand, but I try to be transparent, and it helps others. We don't know who we're inspiring just by sharing some of our experiences. And I had not always been this positive. It's over time and based on experience. Because I was back in the days this person who, if I hear a hurricane is coming, I'd be, all nervous and thinking the worst is going to happen, all that negative thinking. But no, over time, I've learned and matured and understand my faith is God, realized that, come on now, you could be positive about everything. Like I tell people, the rain is falling. It's going to wet up the clothes outside and it's going to maybe delay where we're going. But if we look at it on the positive side, the tomatoes are going to grow, the grass is going to get greener, and so there's always the flip side to life. You could always look at it this way, and I'm glad that I have matured and grown into that person that I could look at life that way. And I must let you know that Manning School, the backbone of Manning School, had helped with my leadership, my determination, my resilience. All of that came from being a young. I want to tell you a little story. Coming off the country bus at school. I remember one morning we stopped at Manning's off the Man B bus, and the school gates were all chained up, and kids were out with their placards and they were demonstrated. And at the time had no idea what the demonstration was about, but I guess the nature of me to advocate for somebody who needs some help or justice, it was our teacher, Mr. Surgeon. They used to call him Stalin. He used to sing, I remember him. And they were demonstrating for something for him, and of course I joined in the group. No Stalin, no school. No Stalin, no school. Still didn't know what it was about. And I guess whatever we're about, the passion that we gave to look out for him, but he's one of our favorite teacher. He was our favorite teacher, one off. He's a very cool guy. And I remember he sang Red, Red Wine at a little concert we had at school. Always remember that. But anyway, I'm just saying that to say that I was looking out for him or for whoever it was, and it worked because he was there for another 2 or so years at school. So I'm happy for all those little things that happened at school that we look back on. It was fun then, but it was a reason, because I know there were students who looked on and never became a part of it. But I was a part of it because I said, if so many people are into this, it's got to be for a good reason. So I'm glad I did. But Roger, I thank you very much for this platform that you had created and invited me so I could share some of my good memories being a blue blood. And I wanted you to ask me about my hobbies because, yes, I love to travel. Of course, that's my thing. I have been to a few places, thank God. And Greece has been my favorite, of course. Costa Rica's good too. But I am a Scrabble player, right? In my downtime, I do a lot of family things because we're a closely knit family and we do a lot of things together. But Scrabble is my favorite board game. I play it just about almost every day on the phone or with people. So I want to throw it out there to any blue blood or anybody listening who would want to, take me up on some Scrabble one day. I'm up for the challenge. I wanted to say that. So thank you
Is
for
that
having
words
me.
with friends as well?
Pardon me?
Words with
Word
friends
is
as well?
fun. Yeah, but it's not the same as Scrabble. Scrabble is more intense to me. Yeah. Word is
Okay.
right, just making
And
up
how
some
do you
words.
play
But
Scrabble online?
there is an app or many apps out there, Scrabble Go, that you could download on your phone and then you could play with the computer, or there are other people who are logged on. If you're connected to, I'm not on Facebook. If you're connected to Facebook, there are all the players there and you could play live with people, up to
Okay.
four people, and you get your scores, and it records and keeps your score so you can see how well you're doing and who you're beating or not beating and where the challenges are. So yes, but that's my favorite thing to do on my phone these days.
I've got a bonus question for you.
Oh God, let's have it.
You've been in the United States for a long time because you were with your company for 38 years. So who knows how long?
32 years,
32
32 years
years.
in the count.
All
Yes.
right. What do you think? Why do you think a lot of Caribbean people and Latin people generally come to America and do better than Americans by proportional representation? What's going on? Not all. I'm just saying.
Not all, but I see where you're coming from. It's all about the opportunity. You see, when you have something, we're not even aware of the value of it, and that we could relate that to anything in life. So for the people who live here, for those, the small group that we're talking about, it's because that's access. So it's taken for granted. But for us that are coming in from outside and knew what we left behind and the lack that we didn't have or the opportunities that weren't available, when we get here, and they call it the land of opportunity. So when we get here and we see what's available, we put head down and we're going to strive, and we're going to try to succeed, and we're going to try to do better. Because it's in this country that we're told that whatever you want to be, the resources are here. So I think that's why we do so much better for those of us who would be as would class as doing better. It's because of the opportunity that we see and we want to seize the moment. Because for some of us, it's every opportunity to grow and to glow. And this big great America has a lot of opportunities for everyone, and the one who's looking out there. It might not be the area that you think your brother or your sister is, but look and find out. In one of the chapter in my book, I talk about passion and purpose. Find out what your passion is and to strive with your purpose, because the opportunities are here, the resources are here, and people out there. I'm a mentor also. People are there who will guide and mentor and help you to become the greatest version of yourself.
Cool. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.
All right.
And